Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Great to have you on the channel today. We're going to be watching your winter storm outlook, especially across North America here. We have a few areas of interest as we stretch through the mid to late part of the week into next weekend. Models are kind of hinting that we could see a major snowstorm developing from the Ohio Valley into parts of the Northeast and New England. We'll see just how plausible this is, how big, and what areas could see the most snow accumulations. We'll be looking at the tropics. Could we actually see a cold front move through much of the tropics, changing the air mass, or are we destined to see more tropical moisture? Let's get into it. And a quick peek into a couple minutes from now, we're going to be looking at these snowfall totals into the Northeast for next weekend. How plausible is this on the GFS? 20 to 30 inches into parts of New England. So here we are with your future radar. Let's take a look as we go out here in time. We got some showers and thunderstorms kicking up along the Gulf Coast areas as we head through Sunday evening into Sunday night. There it is, moving east towards parts of northern Georgia, the Carolinas, maybe a few wet snowflakes in parts of the Appalachians here before sliding off the coast by noon on Monday. You can see up here into the Northeast, we have our next system. It's a little clipper type system with a strong area of snow moving along it. So as we head through 1 a.m., this is actually through Monday night into early Tuesday morning. We might have a snow squall line moving through Cleveland, Binghamton, Albany, all the way up through northern New England here. We might see some, a quick inch. Snow squall warnings may be prompted here with some very gusty winds. That's going to be the big story. And that heads all the way down into southern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Look at that through 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning. And as we stretch through Texas, there's that rain kicking up on the south side of this high pressure system. All right, so let's start off with the GFS model and then we'll progress over towards the European run. So synoptically, picking up where our HRRR future radar left off, as we continue through the week here, you got those Alberta clippers moving through the Northeast. Here it is. So there's another clipper. There's some more moisture here in Texas. Now, watch this. As we head through the 29th into the 30th, this system up here tries to go coastal. Very little success here. Watch out. We may see some severe weather across Texas and Oklahoma here. Something we'll have to keep a very close watch here. On and through Thursday and into Friday here, that low pressure moving across the Mississippi River Valley. This could stretch a squall line all the way from southern Ohio down to the Gulf Coast here. So you got to watch out for some severe weather here. The dynamics are looking pretty good. And then the northern fringe of this system, watch out. We may see some mixed precipitation, even some wet snowflakes here on the northern edge of this as we head through February 1st. So this would be next Saturday. Stretching showers and thunderstorms down through the Carolinas into the panhandle of Florida and snow breaking out across parts of northern Pennsylvania and upstate New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, just north of New York City here. So we could be seeing some mixed precipitation. Now, the transition of this storm looks really interesting on the GFS. Here it is. It is actually not a major low pressure system, but it has tremendous moisture with it. And I'm going to get into snowfall totals here for you. Parts of New England on the GFS are showing up 24 to 32 inches here, which is really crazy. Not sure I'm buying that much for this system. It is a double barrel low here, as you see the transition of energy. But it is a prolonged area. Looking into Sunday here, we're still seeing snow through 1 p.m. in Boston, and southern Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and parts of southern Maine could get clipped with this as well. So this is a development we're going to keep a very close watch on. Not completely all the details worked out just yet, as it is about a week off. So here we go as we stretch through the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. You see the Colorado low pattern is really kicking in here. That's going to draw this moisture up. And many of you from Ohio southward wonder, is he going to see some strong thunderstorms? You might actually see some as we get through the 7th. This looks like a squall line pushing through parts of northern Ohio down through parts of Texas. Mixed precipitation on the northern end, and we see several waves of low pressure riding up the Mississippi River Valley with frozen precipitation through Chicago, north of Detroit to southeast Canada. So this is the pattern we set up through the 1st and 2nd week of February, and then we try to see some area of low pressure developing on the backside with some snow showers. All right, so let's take a look at the European model here. We'll start from the beginning here, and you can see we have some showers moving across the southeast here as we stretch through Monday and on into Tuesday. You see this big low pressure across eastern Canada. It is going to drag a cold front and a short wave here through the eastern Great Lakes, because we could have some gusty snow showers, but we're not looking at tremendous accumulation here. Tuesday into Wednesday, that moves out. Another Alberta clipper moving through the northern Great Lakes. High pressure building in along the Gulf Coast, and as you can see, that Alberta clipper moving through the northeast here as we head Tuesday night into Wednesday. We might have an inch or two of accumulation. That kind of just congeals off the coastline here, tries to go coastal. You can see we do have a trough developing on the backside of this system. And then look at this, return flow out of the Gulf. Texas, north central Texas could be seeing some showers and thunderstorms. Some of these could be a little on the strong side as we get that southerly flow, and then look at Colorado low trying to form here as well on the backside. So this system's really going to get cranking. You could see some strong to severe thunderstorms into Wednesday and Thursday across the southern plains, and a severe weather outbreak could ensue across the mid-Mississippi River Valley here as this low winds up across eastern Kansas. Now look at as we head through the end of the month into February, it is warmer, but watch out. Now, this latest run of the Euro now shows snow breaking out across central Illinois, Indiana, northern Ohio, northwest Pennsylvania. Just enough cold air here. It's going to be marginal, though. And you see how this slides off the coast? Let me just back this up. So we may see some wet snow on the northern fringes of this system. So we'll take a look at snowfall amounts momentarily with this latest run of the Euro. It does remain a little more progressive, keeping it mostly away from New England here. Now, as we go further out, we take a look at the overall pattern. We're going to continue to see these Alberta Clippers type systems drop out of central Canada, and that's going to continue. But for the most part, we're quiet until around February 6th, where we do start to see a Colorado low ejecting out of the plains here, and that's where we really could see rainfall and thunderstorms all the way up into the Ohio Valley into the northeast here. Mixed precipitation as cold air damming ensues here into eastern New York and northern New England, but eventually the warm air wins out, and then that cold front comes crashing through around February 8th. And you can see then we start to set up a strange pattern here where we're going to see some big Gulf lows come up this direction, and this on the northern side, you're going to have to watch out for some wintry precipitation. All right, so let's take a look at snowfall amounts here on our European run. As we stretch through midweek, you can see these Alberta Clippers really lining up the snow with some lake enhanced here, mostly northwest Pennsylvania, northern New York here, northern Michigan, and up through the UP and all the way through northern Minnesota. That's where you could see 2 to 6 inches on average, and then we're just going to pile it up. There's that system moving through northern Ohio into New York, northwestern Pennsylvania. So things have changed very abruptly today for northern Ohio, Indiana, these areas. So we're going to watch out for the potential of a northern fringe snowstorm here. You see these Alberta Clippers, though. They're just going to line up, and then we start to see these Colorado lows really blast a lot of snow up here into the upper Midwest, 1 to 2 feet on average. But then you start to see this pattern towards mid-February, right around the 10th here. That's where we're going to start to see the potential for snow starting to kick in again, all the way from northern Texas, all the way up through the Appalachians, Ohio Valley, into parts of interior Northeast. And if we take a look at the GFS snowfall amounts here, there it is through Wednesday. Yeah, those favored snowbelt areas with this lake enhancement with these Alberta Clippers coming down. So you know those typical snowbelt areas. And then we just pile more snow. This is interesting because look at there. For next weekend, we could be looking at a possible interior snowstorm for parts of the Northeast. This is more northerly than the European model is showing. So this is more Saturday night into Sunday morning there. And that would be quite a bit of snow, even over to Boston. Look at that. Wow, 24 to 30 inches. So we'll have to keep a very close watch on this. As we go further out in time, you can see these Colorado lows providing the Midwest and the plains with a lot of snow. But you have to admit, the interior Northeast, all the way to the New England coast, we'll have to see if that snowstorm next weekend takes effect. And here we go. I wanted to zoom into the Northeast here for that potential snow. Of course, we stretch through midweek. You can see the northwest Pennsylvania, western New York, northern New York. This is where you could see a lot of that lake enhancement kicking in, anywhere from about 5 to 10 inches on average here. So it's piling up. Next weekend, here we go. We kick in a major snowstorm. This is really crazy. Look at eastern Massachusetts, 24 inches right around the Boston, Worcester area, and then through northern New York, southern Vermont. Look at the Hudson Valley here. anywhere from about 10 to as much as 26 inches around Albany. We'll have to see if this verifies the European not going as crazy with this storm, but it is interesting to see that even northern New Jersey here, look at the sharp cutoff here to the south. And we'll flip over to the European run here. There it is through Tuesday into Wednesday. There we go. We start to blossom those snow belt areas. That's 5 to 10 inches on average. And then we head through next weekend. There it is. Cleveland actually getting around 3, 4, 5 inches. So the models have flipped. We had you at 40 degrees, getting warmer on the warmer side of the system. GFS still has you on the warmer side of the system, which I'm kind of leaning towards. But it is interesting. The Euro is going colder with northern Ohio for next weekend system. So I'll keep you posted here, especially through northern Pennsylvania. And look at this. The Euro doesn't go crazy with that low, obviously, in New England. It does paint you with about 4 to 8 inches of snow here, so that's a good amount, but not crazy like the GFS is showing. As we head through February 10th, though, you do start to see this rain-snow line pushing further to the south here. Look at this. You're actually getting snow around Harrisburg through New York City and northern New Jersey. Total liquid equivalent precipitation amounts here on the European model. You can see mostly across eastern Texas, central Louisiana, all the way through Alabama and Mississippi areas here. That's where you'll see about 2, maybe 3 inches and then more as we head late week here into Texas with that strong to severe thunderstorm outbreak potential. That stretches up through the Ohio Valley into parts of the Northeast. With the northern fringe next weekend, we might have to watch out for some frozen precipitation. And you can see the overall pattern has the Gulf of Mexico moisture plume here open for business where we could see 4 to as much as 6 inches of liquid equivalent. If we take a look at the the GFS model for that matter, here it is. About 1 to 2 inches here, interior eastern Texas, Louisiana, and then look at that. Our system late week, Thursday into Friday, blossoms. We could be looking at 2 to as much as 4.5 inches in some of these gully washers, these stronger thunderstorms and heavy rain that sets up, and that moves up into the Ohio Valley in the Northeast with about 1 inch or 2 of liquid equivalent. Longer term, as we head through February 11th, look at this, the East and the West Coast really going crazy with moisture here. And Derek Grunstiller here from Harrisburg, Susquehanna River. Take a look at this. Just the other day, you can see that ice really building up along the Susquehanna River. Just a very picturesque. You can see it. Look at the jagged ice out there. That is a lot of ice. And this is very common for a cold winter, cold and snowy and icy winter here across Harrisburg. You get all that ice coming down. Look how wide the river is at this point as well. There's the bridge in the background. You can see it looking very nice. These are some really nice captures. There's a Harrisburg sign to the left there. And as you can see, it's looking beautiful across the area. Plenty of ice. However, look at that. Nice captures there, Derek, from the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area. And before we continue with more weather coverage here, don't forget if you liked the video and you made it this far, smash that like button, everyone. It really does help. Question or comment down below. I love to read your questions or comments and follow up with you. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe, bell notification button so you're alerted with all my future weather video updates and outlooks. Let's continue. So take a look at our GFS, our upper air 500 millibar run, see what's going on in upstairs atmosphere. So yeah, there's that trough mid to late week kicking across the lakes, but there's that firecracker ridge. This is really interesting. This is why it's kind of strange. Parts of the northern part of this fringe system could see frozen precipitation because you're technically in a ridge, but we'll see. I'm not really buying that winter storm across northern Ohio just yet next weekend into northwest Pennsylvania, but this is the one the GFS goes crazy with in New England. So it really blasts it up towards New England, which is, we're going to have to watch it. It doesn't show up very prominently here, though. So that's kind of weird, but it's kind of embedded here in a ridge. So that's why it's kind of, we're teetering on the edge here. Look at this midterm here. This firecracker ridge really takes hold across the east, trough digging across the desert southwest here. And eventually, you can see all the way through mid-February, it's troughier out west, and it's much more ridgier here in the east. As we take a look at our European run, yeah, pretty much agrees for the most part. It is troughy across the northeast and lakes into northern New England here, but there's that firecracker ridge taking effect. Here's our system on the European model, showing a little more prominently. It's not really negatively tilted, though, so it doesn't go crazy. Even snowfall amounts, if they do occur, they're not going to be, like, crazy on the European run. You know what the GFS did with the snowfall amounts, so we'll have to watch it here. But there's that firecracker ridge trying to take shape across the east. And then there it is. So for people who like snow, it's not looking great through at least mid-February here. So for our NAO index, we're going seriously positive here. We're right around neutral or just slightly positive. So we're heading up towards 1 on the index. You know what that means. Most of you do. It means less troughiness in the east, more ridges, and less snow and cold chances. All right, so let's take a look at the MJO index here. So here we are. We're heading towards phase 4, eventually phase 5, and then as we head towards middle part of February, phase 6 and 7. Once we start to get into 7 here and towards 8, towards the end of February, that's where we're going to start to transition into that more active weather pattern, troughiness along the East Coast with more cold air and snowstorms. So winter will not be over. It may take a hiatus from us for the first part of February, but as we head later on into February and especially March, I think we get towards phase 8 and 1 once again. So here we are starting off with the Caribbean, Central America. How's everybody doing down here? Let's take a look at your weather. I told you I'd keep this going all year, even in the winter time. So here we go. As we stretch through Monday into Tuesday, you can see we just have a few scattered showers around. This is your quiet time, actually, through the extended forecast period. You can see we just have a few scattered showers through Honduras, Belize, up to Cancun here. Jamaica, a few scattered showers. Look at this. Dominican Republic looks mostly clear. A few scattered showers through Puerto Rico. Now, as we head longer term here, January 30th, we had later week here. You can see towards the 31st, we do have a frontal boundary moving in from the north here. So we'll have to watch out for that. It could spark off some moisture plumes here. Look at most of northern Central America looking pretty quiet here for the most part. Now, we do have a low pressure moving around Colombia here. That's going to be kicking some showers around Panama, Costa Rica here. Look at Florida up here in the Bahamas. They look mostly dry through this forecast period later in the week into February 1st here. So we get those easterly trade winds. We are going to see some scattered showers developing in these areas. Nothing major. Costa Rica, Panama, that is where the heavier rain is going to lie here as we stretch through February 4th here into the 5th. You can see this area of low pressure across Panama all the way over to Colombia. So there, we don't see these fronts make it too far to the south. You can see this one making it just north of Jamaica and the Cayman Islands as we head through February 6th into the 7th here. And we just zoom in just a little bit. You can see these scattered showers really clearing out from Cancun all the way down to Honduras, though, by the 7th and the 8th. Until you get to the 9th, you start to see this easterly fetch. This is where I think you'll start to see scattered showers really start to plume in across parts of the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and watch this front dropping down across the Yucatan and eastern parts of the Gulf. This could have tremendous tropical moisture, and that's going to plume down to Honduras, these areas. This might actually push this front from the north might actually push all the way through the eastern Caribbean. So we might actually see a different, drier air mass in time here with another front pushing in from the northeast here. But you can see this front eventually moves out with clearer times through February 11th. And thanks for Tropical Tidbits for our European model run analysis here for the tropics. As we head out in time, let's see if it agrees with the GFS. For the most part this week, the most active weather is going to be across Central America. You can see a little bit of drying here across the eastern part of the Caribbean. And as we stretch through the 29th into the 30th, you can see there is going to be a frontal boundary moving through up here. You can see, wow, there's our severe weather across parts of Texas and the southeast and Gulf Coast states. But there's our area of low pressure developing across parts of the southern Caribbean islands here just south of the Caribbean islands and towards Central America. You can see this plume of moisture, and there it is, February 1st. There it is. There you have it. That's what we're looking at, some showers and just some scattered showers here across the Caribbean islands. So here we go with the Western Caribbean, Central America. Look at this. As we head through this week, it's actually not that bad. We have a few showers kicking up. Even parts of northern Honduras, you're not going to be eclipsing any more than 50 or 60 millimeters here. Same with the east coast of Belize, all the way down through parts of Nicaragua. Costa Rica, even looking a little bit drier. Most of Jamaica, 4 to 15 millimeters here. Northeast Jamaica, closer to 30. So you know the drill here. The normally showery spots, northern coastline of Haiti and Puerto Rico here as well, getting up towards, 18 millimeters here, nothing more than a quarter inch. But look at this, as we head through the second week of February, this is where things start to moisten up across Haiti and Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and look at all the way through Costa Rica, Nicaragua, northern coastline of Honduras, eastern coastline of Belize. This is where I think you'll start to see 100, 150 millimeters, and then closer towards 300 millimeters, the northern coast of Costa Rica here. And then over here towards Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, I think you'll easily see 100 to 200 millimeters. Northeast Jamaica here as well, closer to between about 150 millimeters. So that you're going to average anywhere from about, say, 3 to 6 inches of rain in these darker yellows and oranges locations. Outside of these zones, more like 50 to 100 millimeters, so nothing more than, say, 1.5 to 2 inches. If we take a look at the European run here, this week it looks pretty quiet for a few showers here in Jamaica. Cayman Islands look mostly dry. Now, Central America, as we head through next weekend, you're getting close to 60, 70 millimeters here, but not too much back towards Puerto Rico, just a few showers. But look at as we stretch through mid-February here. This is where we're going to start to see the surge of moisture here through February 10th into Central America. But you have to admit, this is not as wet as it has been. This is a drier trend. As we head to the Eastern Caribbean here, let's take a look. Yeah, this week you're going to have some showers on some easterly trade winds here. Nothing more than 10 to 20 millimeters on average here. Maybe locally higher through parts of the Lesser Antilles here. So watch out, closer to 50 millimeters in some of these locations. Puerto Rico, you're averaging out through mid-February about a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, with the eastern coast here upwards of 100 millimeters. That'll get you up towards 3.5 inches of rain. If we take a look at our Canadian weather outlook, the Alberta Clipper is going to be the popular storm track here. We see a couple of them, a couple different tracks here as we head throughout this week. You can see these snow showers kicking up Nova Scotia up to the Canadian Maritimes, a big low pressure. We're also going to watch the west coast here. We're going to have some moisture plumes moving in, a couple different systems over the next 2 weeks here. So watch this. You can see quieter times through the end of the month, with the exception for the west coast here. Look at this, though. We get a system from the United States that tries to push in. Very little success, though, with this big high pressure over Quebec. Now, our next area of energy coming in from the Rocky Mountains, we'll see what that holds. This system this potential, what looks like a almost blizzard for parts of eastern New England. Cautiously saying that. Southern Nova Scotia, you could really get clipped by this as well, maybe even southern New Brunswick. So here's these Alberta Clipper systems moving through about the 3rd and the 4th. Snow showers across Ontario and Quebec here, providing with more accumulations. But as we head longer term here, I think as we head through towards the beginning to middle part of February, more of the storm track is going to come more out of the southwest here. That's going to kick the rain snow line through Toronto and Ottawa, so you'll have some rain chances. And that's going to push the snow chances further north into Ontario and Quebec in the Canadian Maritimes. We see several of these areas of low pressure riding up. But for the most part, Canada looks clear and very cold. As we take a look at liquid equivalent precipitation here across Canada, look at this. As we head all the way through the second week of February, look at the west coast and even southeast Canada. This is where I think you'll pick up about 60 to 100 millimeters. The west coast more closer to 200 millimeters. So a lot of this will be frozen, of course. So watch out. Stormy times are ahead. All right, so let's take a look at the GFS. This is snow cover right now. Interesting to take a look at this. A lot of Canada, pretty much all of it, is covered in snow for the most part. So if we actually head right over to the snowfall forecast here, let's take a look at this. So you see the Alberta Clippers dropping down through the central provinces, the central prairies here. That's going to average out to about 7 to 15 millimeters on average, or centimeters, I should say. And look at that. As we head through the middle of February, right around February 11th here, that second week, of course, the west coast of British Columbia here, crazy snowfall amount, 60 to 110 centimeters. But look at parts of southeast Canada here. This is where I think you could see anywhere from 15 to as much as 40 centimeters on average in some of these locations. So you're talking about 1 to 2 feet plus in many locations. Snowier times are ahead. All right, so take a look at the Western Pacific here. Things look pretty quiet. Of course, Japan up through parts of South Korea. You're in your colder core systems. A lot of this falling is snow and some valley rain here. So down through the Philippines and Vietnam, this is where you got that intertropical convergence zone. We may have a couple tropical waves waves approaching through the end of the month here. 28th, 29th, and 30th, we'll see some showers really propagating here across the Philippines into the northern Philippines. If we zoom out, look at how far the intertropical convergence zone is across just south of the Philippines here. As we stretch through February 4th, the 5th, and even the 6th, you can see most of these systems remain south and east of the Philippines, with just these areas in the far southern Philippines being affected through time here. So you can see we don't really have any large-scale areas of tropical development or any typhoons for that matter. And here across the Western Pacific and Asia, yeah, the Philippines, for the most part, over to Vietnam, mostly dry with some showers kicking up more closer to the end of the second week of February. This is where I think you could see upwards of 200 to 300 millimeters in the southern Philippines. Get you up towards 7, 8, 9 inches. All right, so let's take a look at our temperatures here. You can see as we start with Monday here, January 27th, still holding on to some cool air in the northeast, 30s, but, upper 20s here in northern New England. But this is a lot warmer than you've been. Look at this warming trend, 50s here into the central states, and look at along the Gulf Coast, 60s and even some 70s blossoming. You can see the warming trend's going to continue. A little cooler shot here in the northeast with some 20s into Wednesday. That kicks out. Look at this, though. You're actually going to be seeing 60s up through parts of southern Virginia here. And then 30s through the eastern Great Lakes, holding on to some real cold air here in northern Maine and northern New England, teens and upper 20s here. But as we stretch through Thursday, you can see the tale of two seasons here. Winter trying to hold on in the northeast. It almost looks spring-like here across the central section of the country. And then Friday, this warm air is feeding these severe weather outbreaks and heavy rain across the south here. And then that cool air, let's stretch on into next weekend. As we head on into Saturday, it is interesting. There's those 40s for northern Ohio, so it's very marginal for any winter storm. So we'll have to see if the Euro really does hold on to that potential. And then here into the northern New England, this is where you could see the snow, blossoming up into New England here, northern New York, and these areas holding into the 30s. The extended forecast from our hometown viewers bring it to Grand Central Susquehanna River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. If you take a look starting Monday, it's going to be beautiful. Sunny skies, mid to upper 30s. It will be gusty wind, though, upwards of 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts, so don't blow away out there. Into Tuesday, we see a few scattered snow showers, much colder, though, mid 20s and windy. So watch out, that wind chill is going to be. Now, Tuesday night and Wednesday, the snow moves in. We'll probably see around an inch of accumulation, but look at that. We make it up to the mid 30s on Wednesday, so not too much accumulation. Thursday turns blustery again, mid to upper 20s, and then Friday we bounce it back up into the mid 30s with partly sunny skies, chance of snow showers. And before we continue with more weather coverage, check out these amazing, awesome maps from my affiliate here.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks, everyone. Share that video. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash that like button.